Hello, my lovely, beautiful souls. It's funny, I had a completely different message lined up today, and Spirit blew me in a different direction and said, no, 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 you're going to talk about this instead. So, buckle up. This is going to be an interesting message, but I'm very excited because Spirit is calling you to embrace a life of play, of fun, and more importantly, allowing for pockets to experience awe and wonder in the everyday. Ooh, doesn't that sound good? I'm like, I want that in my life. And so Spirit wants to dive into the topic of awe and wonder with us today in correlation to play. And I thought it was funny. I wanted to draw an oracle card to kind of get some more information around this energy that Spirit was bringing through. And we have the golden children here, inner child, tenderness, innocence, and rare gifts. Now, when we think about our inner child and bringing that forward into our lives, sometimes that can feel a little bit uncertain of how we're going to do that. How do we usher in that playful, youthful part of ourselves into our daily lives? And I think it's interesting because our inner children know exactly what it looks like to stay present. And we were talking about this concept of thoughts versus thinking, how the thinking loops can burden our minds, it can burden our energies, it can make us feel dense and heavy and tired, even when we haven't done very much physically. If there's a lot going on in the mental space and our mental bodies, then our physical form feels that fatigue. Children have this beautiful way of being able to be grounded and in the now. And because of that, they're able to open themselves up to raw, unfiltered ways of being and of experiences. And that's what Spirit wants to pull through today, this concept of awe, this concept of wonder. What does this mean, right? So I want to start us off with a channeled written message, I suppose you could say. So this is what Spirit brought through for us that we can start off with. It's called The Visitors. Wonderstruck, awe-inspiring. When awe and wonder make their presence known, it is majestic and all-consuming and breathtaking, something that transcends language. It can only be felt in the body, in the now. Confirmation plane heading right over us. Do you guys hear that? It's so loud. I don't know, maybe if I play the audio back, it's not gonna be that bad. Okay. We're gonna... There we go. I think I can talk now. That's funny. Confirmation plane. Zoom, zoom, zooming ahead. Yes. Okay. How majestic is it that we have the concept of airplanes, the concept of flight? What a thought, right? So how awe-inspiring are airplanes, right? Oh my gosh. When awe and wonder make their presence known, it is majestic and all-consuming and breathtaking. Something that transcends language. It can only be felt in the body, in the now. Once we start to assign labels and conceptualize, it takes the magic away, makes it smaller somehow and ordinary. Yet this may allow us to feel safer because we can map out what this thing is, and more importantly, what we are, who we are in relation to it. But awe and wonder are gateways for the inner child to walk through and come out to play within us. They are experiences that expand the heart space, grow the root of our gratitude. They invite us to feel connected to all things, everywhere. It reminds us that home is everywhere, and we are so beautifully part of that. We can lean into belonging when awe and wonder visit. Through them, we see the heart of God. So, through them, through awe and wonder, we see the heart of God. How beautiful are Spirit's words there. And when Spirit was bringing this through, I was thinking to myself, I think we associate awe and wonder with being outdoors in nature, right? If we're on a hike and we're on the side of a mountain and we see this beautiful landscape view, how how awe-inspiring for us to be able to see something like that. It's so grand, it's so big, it's so majestic. But I think the concept here is being able to, because I was asking myself this, I'm like, how can I lean into this concept of awe and wonder? What does that look like in my everyday life, right? And how can we live through those lenses? Because it does allow us to open ourselves up to this root of thankfulness, of being so incredibly grateful for everything that surrounds us, because there are miracles and gifts everywhere we turn, right? And being able to see that within the ordinary things. Like if we're sitting at a table and we're sitting with friends, and then someone says something so funny and we all just laugh our heads off, you know what I mean? And then you experience that moment of fullness within yourself. And then you just kind of sit with that. And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to assign any type of logic to it. You just sit with that feeling of fullness and of grace, of love, of complete, oof. I don't even, there's, and again, it transcends language. It's not meant to be, Spirit's like, don't try to conceptualize it. You know what I mean? You copy, Spirit. It transcends language. It can only, what did the Spirit say? It can only be felt in the present, in the now. Being able to experience that smell of rain. You know what I mean? After it rains and you smell that earthiness, right? And then the grass is a little bit gooey under your feet. Or when we see something like a street lamp, you know, shining on a beautiful mural in the middle of the city. How awe-inspiring, how wondrous, right? Being able to understand that we can see these moments of majesty in the everyday, in the ordinary, and yet not thinking about those things in a way of like, oh yeah, that's a mural that I see on the side of that grocery store. Because it can allow us to devalue what we see in a way. It's almost like what Alan Watts said about turning off the thinking mind to experience the unspeakable world. It's like when we assign colors to things, when we assign shapes to things, we lose some of its meaning, and we can lose some of the experience from it as well, of how absolutely crazy it is that someone took the time and the effort to work with the owner of that grocery store, probably had some sort of ladder that they had to use, and they took their paints out there in the hot sun and spent hours crafting this beautiful piece of art that lives against a brick wall in the middle of a city. And usually we see paintings in art galleries and it's in a specific setting and an environment, but how great that someone decided to outpour their soul, outpour their heart into that specific space. And now whoever sees it, if they need a little bit of encouragement or a little bit of light or a little bit of color, if they're having a bad day, they see that, they're instantly uplifted. That's a gift that was given. How miraculous. How many little things had to align in such a specific way in order to make that mural happen in that place. And then how, conversely, how many people had to come in contact with that mural that was specifically orchestrated by the universe in order for them to be touched by that piece of art so that it affected their lives and their days and their hearts. That's the type of thing I'm talking about here. In the everyday, how can we experience awe and wonder? How can we lean into this? And so, again, what I was saying, what Spirit was saying before that I'm telling for Spirit is the concepts of awe and wonder are portals for the inner children to come through, because they understand these big, big feelings, and they don't necessarily have to understand how it all comes together and why it all comes together. It's a different topic because sometimes you can get into conversations with kids and they're just like, why? But there's also that part of a child that understands some things are just meant to be seen for what they are, and we don't have to logic our way into it. Like, we don't have to think about what it means. It just is, right? Not what does it mean, it just is. That's what a child experiences. And that's what we lose as adults sometimes. That's what Spirit is calling calling you back to is what I'm really getting with this message, myself included here, right? But Spirit, can we get some other messages around this? Thank you so much. Queen of Pentacles, beautiful. Nurturing energy. We have the 10 of Cups. Exactly. You know what it is it's almost like this is Spirit here, and then these are like your inner children, just like within the arms of Spirit. And it opens up this portal to like I said before in the channeled message, Spirit was saying that awe and wonder are a way for us to be able to see the heart of God, to see who God truly is. And if you think about it, Spirit Spirit is so in love with experiencing life through each and every one of us. You know what I mean? Completely enamored with the idea of seeing existence through endless perspectives, endless backgrounds and contexts of minds, of ways of being. Spirit enjoys that so immensely. And how these are just concepts of like Spirit is using awe and wonder to be able to show, this is how I feel about you, my child. Yeah, ooh, yeah, exactly. When you experience this awe, when you experience this wonder, completely transcending words, you're just in it and you're just immersed within the now. Spirit is like, that is how I feel about you, my child. That is how I see you. When you see my heart, I see yours reflected right back. Ooh, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I'm getting such an outpouring of love and energy into my heart space right now. Wow. And Spirit is saying, you see my heart, I see yours right back. So be in the now, experience it now, allow it to be now, so that we can experience each other together now. Yeah. And then we have the Emperor at the very bottom of the deck, understanding how we can consciously craft this emotional fulfillment, this connection, this divine connection and divine union with Spirit, God, Source, Creator. And then we have the Tower as well, unlearning what we think we know. As adults, sometimes we can get a little bit prideful. We think we know everything. We think that just because we can use big fancy words and we can assign logic frameworks to situations and to circumstances, that suddenly that it puts us above life to a certain degree. And I think it can cut us off in a certain way. But Spirit's saying we need to allow that method of thinking to crumble and to fall so that we can experience more presence. Yeah. More presence, more wholeness, more oneness, more feeling of home, right? Home. And then we have 3 of Pentacles at the very bottom here. Yeah, Spirit working with you and your inner child to be able to understand this is where the growth happens. This is where the nurturing happens. Otherwise, we can lose sight, is what I'm getting. We can lose sight of the everyday. We can get so caught up in the minutia, and we can believe that we're so right in our thoughts because we've thought them through so logically and so diligently. And because we've spent so much time crafting these belief systems, well, of course they must be true. Because we have past experiences that tie us to these beliefs, to these thoughts, to these concepts, to this framework that we assign to everything around us, right? But Spirit's like, how can we kind of release some of that? How can we allow some of that to fall away, to let go of some of those constructs that we have spent so much time building up in order to make us feel safe, right? That's what Spirit was saying before. We conceptualize in order to make us feel safe. If something feels too big or too much, or like we don't know what it means, we want to understand it so that we can control it, so that we have a way to be able to understand who we are in relation to this big thing that we don't really know how to handle, right? Beautiful. Okay. And then we have at the bottom of the deck 5 of Wands. Yeah. I'm getting with this, It's like I'm feeling this commotion, calamity is what I'm hearing within you. It's like these are your different thoughts and emotions just kind of overlapping one another. There's a lot of din, is what I heard, D-I-N. That's a very specific word. A lot of commotion and a lot of sound happening because we've spent so much time believing even our self beliefs about who we are. We've spent so much time crafting that. And if we kind of let some of that fall away, it's a little bit scary, because then what are we left with is what I'm hearing. But in order for us to be able to expand into more love, into more peace, into more joy, there needs to be a letting go of this control. There needs to be a element of trust here. Yeah, Spirit's saying trust. Yeah, you're saying like, how will I know? How will I know is what I keep hearing. How will I know? Spirit's saying you don't have to know. You just have to allow. You just have to let me lead you. You just have to let me guide you. And that starts with being present. That starts with experiencing. That starts with allowing yourself to be a little bit more playful and allowing your inner child to come forward so that your inner child can bring you medicine that you need at this point in time, is what Spirit's saying. Yeah, okay. Animals were following me all around today, so I just want to, where are we at? Okay. Animals were following me, so I want to see if there's a specific animal that has a message here. Fox spirit, think on your feet. And then we have flamingo spirit, embrace the in between. We had a few others come through here. Chameleon spirit, act as if. Badger spirit, be fearless and bold. Beaver spirit, lay a solid foundation. Bottom of the deck, koi fish spirit, there is always enough. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes when we're growing into spaces that don't feel familiar, it's a little bit jarring. And like I said before, when we spent so much time building up these constructs of who we believe ourselves to be, and we're being told by Spirit, by God, by the universe, it's all the same, to release our grip, to release our hold, and to allow, it's a little bit like, okay, well, what does that mean? How do I do that, right? And you don't necessarily have to do anything. You just have to relax. You just have to relax, is what I'm hearing. You just have to relax. Okay. We also have setting boundaries, threshold protection, honor. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have divine masculine, electric, active power. This is what you're healing right now. This masculine energy within you, this need to be able to assign names and labels to things and to have frameworks around things and timelines to things and da 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 da. I just keep getting like one after another. And it's masked as like logic, right? Because that makes us feel in power, in control. That makes us feel like we know what's happening when we're able to come at life from that way. But being able to, oh, it's so funny. I saw a tiger on someone's shirt when I was riding home. I was coming home from the beach today and someone was riding a motorcycle and they had a big, big tiger on the back of their shirt. So tigers are very significant for you at this time. It's coming out again. I'm just being called to share that. But being able to set boundaries with this masculine, hyper masculine approach to living life. My nose is itching as well, so that's a confirmation. Setting boundaries with this, right? And being able to say, actually, there's more to see here. What more is there? Maybe just sitting with Spirit and not needing to have an answer, right? Don't have an agenda going into the communion with Spirit, but just being able to sit down and be in company with the Most High and asking, how do I allow this? How do I become more embodied in the now, in the present, so that I can usher in my inner child from within me and be in more wonder, experience more awe in my everyday? Because I guarantee you that's going to increase your thankfulness. It's going to increase the amount of love that you feel. Like I said, you will feel connected to everything. You're going to be able to see the heart of God revealed Yeah, it's like I'm hearing God saying, like, sing to me and I will sing back to you. When you see my heart, you will see it reflected back to you, my child. That's exactly what I'm getting here. This is the message for you, my friends. I love you so much. Thank you for being such a special gift to this world. It was an honor getting to sit with your energy and hopefully helping just a bit as we continue walking each other back home to ourselves. So, goodbye for now.